Hey everybody, thought we'd set up a learning card for the quadratic equation. So let's go ahead and do that. Um, Actually, let's say solving for the quadratic equation. Solving quadratics with the quadratic formula. There you go. Solving equations with the quadratic. We're going to run another room formula. As always, pause when you need to. So first of all, things to remember, there's three different things. First of all, the formula, you need to know it. And that's just not negotiable. You're going to use it enough here, Algebra 2, SATs, ACTs, asking your girlfriend or boyfriend out. And again, remember, if you want to, you can find all sorts of songs on YouTube in which to remember these. My personal favorite is the No No Dame Fight song. But biggest thing here to do, somehow got an extra point in there, sorry. One of the biggest things here to do is to make sure that you write it down, and I would even just say it as you're writing it down a couple of times to make sure that you've got it memorized. And that's going to be very, very important. Now, the big thing to remember here is that when you've got the standard form here, it must equal 0. And you have to have an order from lowest degree, or highest degree to lowest degree. Okay. So that's a must. And you have to have all, three parts. Okay. So, because otherwise you're going to put the wrong numbers in the wrong places, and that's not any good. Now, when I say set the table here, what I mean is this. List out your parts. And write the formula out. Okay, so you're going to actually say A is equal to blank, B is equal to blank, C is equal to blank. Here, you're going to write out the formula, and you'll see it in the example. You're going to write it out without any numbers in it, so you can make sure, again, you're getting it all set up right. And lastly, you just need to take your time. There are so many places you can make mistakes. Okay, don't rush things. Don't try to be a hero. And just do each part one at a time. Because otherwise you're going to miss signs, you're going to mismultiply things, you're going to misdivide things, and all of that, and it's just going to fall apart. Okay. All right, so here we go. Solve. So a couple of things. First of all, we need to get this in standard form. So I need to get everything on one side, so I'm going to subtract the 8x. Now when you do this, you got to be careful, because again, you want this in standard form. So I've got the 0. But again, remember, highest degree goes first, so that's going to be 2x squared minus 8x plus 5. So there you got it in standard form. Everything's all set up. And then you need to list out your parts. So I've got A equals 2, B equals negative 8, C equals 5. Now the other thing to remember here is that you don't want to, or you don't want to rely on the quadratic formula. You would want to have take it some time, see if you can factor this one, maybe see if you can use square roots with this one. This one won't do the square root method, obviously, because you've got this, where is it? There you go. You've got, the 8x there. That provides it, that keeps it away from doing that. But this one we'll need the quadratic equation for, so we'll just go ahead and do that. So anyway, x equals the opposite of b, plus or minus, sorry, put it up over here. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Everything's being divided by 2a. And then from here, we're going to plug in our parts. So I'm going to take out, so I've got the opposite of, and I'm going to plug b in here. So that's going to be a negative 8. Plus or minus, remember that means that that's how we get our two equations. Square root of a negative 8 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5 all over 2 times a, which is 2. And so when I say take your time, what I'm going to suggest, if you remember when we went through this the first time in class, We're going to do this part. We're going to do this. And make sure you put your negatives in parentheses, because otherwise mistakes will happen. We're going to do that part, and we're going to do this part. We're going to do them all separately. Don't try to do them all at the same time, because two things will happen. If you make mistakes, you won't see it, and B, you're going to make mistakes. So this is going to be x is equal to, that's going to turn into positive 8. Just because it says the opposite of b, that does not mean that it's a negative b. That means that you're going to change the sign of whatever b is. Plus or minus the square root of, I'm going to get 64, minus 4 times 2 times 5. So 4 times 2 is 8, times 5 is 40, over 4. And then the last step here, I'm going to go 8 plus or minus the square root of 24 over 4. And that would be your two exact answers. Now, if you want decimal answers, okay, I'm going to slide up here. I'm going to go through and you're going to take out your calculator. I should have had this loaded up. Sorry about that. And you're going to find the square root of 24. 24 is, I believe, about 4.8. So again, square root 24. So 4.89, so we'll round it to 4.9. Thank you, Mr. Calculator. So this is equal to 4.9. So I'm going to rewrite this without the root, but with the decimal approximation. So 8 plus 4.9 divided by 4. Now again, remember, it's the whole thing divided by 4, so we have to do the numerator separately. So I'm going to break this down into two parts. So x is either going to equal 8 plus 4.9 divided by 4, or x is going to equal 8 minus 4.9 over 4. And then you're going to do the math on both of those. So where's Mr. Calculator? So 8 plus 4.9. And again, don't make this, hit enter here, because you need to divide it by 4, and you're going to get 3.225. Remember, if you go too fast and you end up typing it like this, okay, the only thing being divided by 4 right here is the 4.9, not the 8. If you're going to do that correctly, you need to go back and, come on, you actually need to type it with the parentheses. And everybody says, oh, I'll remember that. You know what? You're not going to. So I would just say you're best off, it's going to be faster to just do it this way. Do the numerator, hit enter, divided by the bottom. So anyway, back over here, I get x is equal to 3.225. If you're going to round it to at least one decimal spot. And then the other one, let me get this out of the way. So again, 8 minus 4.9, and then divide that by 4. And so the other answer over here is going to be x equals 0.775. Okay? So that hopefully will give you a good solid example and some things to remember for your learning folder. I can't talk. Sorry about that. As always, let me know if you have any questions. Talk to you later.